had to have full function of my body while I was astral projecting, which is very difficult to do. So I would relay him the target, and he would hit it. It was that simple. The price for failure in that case was, the barrel of the gun gets pretty hot. You miss the target, that gets pressed into your skin when you miss.
Ouch. That's ridiculous.
Well, we really didn't miss a lot.
No, we didn't miss any.
Nope, not after that.
It's the way they trained us. And also, I'll jump all over that for about a minute. When we were children in group formation, going through martial arts drills, if anyone's ever seen an old traditional Oriental karate school where the instructors walk the bamboo cane, and if the student gets something wrong, they get whacked with a cane. Okay? Yeah, they sting, but they don't do any damage.
Yeah.
Okay? They use cattle prods with us.
Oh. That's horrible.
So if we were out of step, out of time, out of stance, we got zapped with a cattle prod.
Wow.
This is even worse, and I don't really know how much anybody wants to go down this road, but this is one of the reasons why it's so difficult for us to think that these programs are still going on. A lot of the children in these programs were, like those guys that would go down to the planets on Star Trek, the Expendables.
Yeah.
And they would be there solely for the purpose of, being tortured or killed in front of us as punishment.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to have yourself hurt, but it's even harder to see somebody else hurt or killed in front of you and be told that it was your fault.
Yeah.
So that was their encouragement to us to do well, and so we did well.
One of the things that I've never talked about and that I remember is being about 8 years old, maybe a little younger, and being in a sterilized room with the lady that we call Elga. That's the lady who was in the hardware store the first time. She was a great fixture in my life for several years. She was like the trainer, handler, mother figure, all that. It was my birthday, and I was brought a puppy, maybe 3 weeks old.
Mm-hmm.
And I was allowed to play with it for a time. Then I was given a knife and told to slit his throat. And I rebelled, and certain things took place, and I finally followed instructions.
Again, this adds another layer of shock to an already shocking story.
Well, and shock is the perfect word. We were never given a break. We were never given a chance. No matter how bad your situation is, you can normalize it. That's how we deal with things. You normalize your situation. We were never given that opportunity. There was a constant shock factor.
Yeah.
All through the years, up until early adulthood. Whenever they thought we were becoming, just used to it, they would throw something else at us that would totally shake everything up again. It just continued on and on and on.
Well, and the thing about this is, you guys were being trained in so many different areas. Did they do the same thing whenever you were having training for psychological things? You were doing psychological warfare. You were also doing the out-of-body missions, and you were being trained to do out-of-body. Was this training also so severe when that was involved?
I remember one instance where it was, and I'm not exactly, I think the point of it was to separate me from my body, but I have a memory of lying face down, and I had needles inserted into my spine, cutting off the nerve function to my arms and legs so that I could see them in front of me, but, they'd put the needle in and suddenly I'd not be able to move my arm. And I remember one of the doctors saying, "Das ist nicht ein Armen," which apparently in German means that is not your arm. So they played all these mind games to try to say, this isn't your body. You can leave, to get me to leave my body, and it didn't belong to me. I'm not exactly sure the point of that, except that it was somehow involved in the training of getting me to more easily leave my body without the trauma and struggle that most people have. And so I was able to slip out of my body very easily after that training.
Wow, that's unbelievable, and actually it's pretty darn creepy. It's the thing that I mean, it's the thing that you really you have to kind of question your own sanity sometimes.
I do, constantly, actually. In fact, my friend is a psychologist, and we sat down with the DSM-4, which was the diagnostic manual for mental disorders, and I told her we'd go through this, and we went through everything, am I this, am I that, am I, schizophrenic, am I bipolar, am I, and we went through because I really wanted to hear if I was, sane or not, and I still don't know sometimes, but, it's very difficult to feel sane when you're having to deal with issues and memories like this.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it's hard not to break, too, just emotionally, when you're remembering these things and even dealing with them now. I mean, we have another friend who was part of Black Ops, and, two nights ago, he switches all the time too, and I've actually had many conversations with his alternate personality, and but when he switches, he'll go into convulsions, and that's very difficult to deal with, and it's because it's difficult, and then it reminds you of the things that they did, and you're experiencing it firsthand, and you think, my God, what did they do to us? And my God, they're still doing this.
Oh. Yeah, I think for us right now, that is the scariest part, is that these projects have always gone on. And that was our main reason for coming forward. Even when I first came forward 14 years ago with all this, that was my main goal, was to find a way to try to get enough people behind it to stop it, or at least bring enough attention to it to get some politician to pick it up, get it mentioned somewhere, to get enough awareness to it to at least slow it down.
Yeah.
But that's like beating a dead horse.
Yeah, I mean, as horrifying as it is what we went through, it horrifies me even more to think that our government and other governments are taking children, many of them, and torturing and killing them, and no one knows about it, and no one's doing anything about it.
Yeah.
And that drives me mad to the brink more than anything. It's too late for us. It's too late for us. What's done is done, but, it's not too late for some of these kids, and every day that passes, it becomes too late for many of them, and that's why we have a sense of urgency of, if we call ourselves a human race who wants to evolve and ascend to a higher consciousness or whatever, how can we do that when we treat our children like this and allow this to happen?
Well, maybe this radio show will help get the word out.
We have gotten better reviews, better reception when we did Night Watch show than any other show.
That's great.
And that is not a joke. Whenever I would do a show with Todd, the reception, the emails and whatnot were 100 times better than any other show.
Wow.
Yay!
Wow, thank you, Duncan. I'm over here red in the face. I appreciate that. And what was it that brought us together? Something brought us together for that first show. It was so odd how somehow we were directed to each other, and it just was like meant to be.
I agree with that. And one thing that Axe has brought up a number of times is 197 would do things without my knowledge. He will send emails, make phone calls, and set things up without my knowledge. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I'm talking to who, when, why?
He ordered products one time. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was weird, too.
So was it 197 that got you on the show, or was it yourself that got you on the show?
Yeah.
I have no conscious memory of ever contacting Todd the first time.
Wow.
Hey, you've got the price of one.
Wow, man, I know them both. See, I got a bonus body. Jeez, no, for real though, it's like that is really odd because I remember there were times when I would talk to you and you seemed very disjointed, very different, and it was a little different. Now during the show, luckily it never triggered or happened. But I remember one time, yeah, that was very tough because you were actually. You had talked about on the show that you were on the run from a situation we didn't go into detail on, but I remember you were like swapping phones every few days because you couldn't keep the same phone because there was something really hot going on because you weren't supposed to come out about this, and you did on that first show, and we brought you back about 6 months later for the follow-up, and that's when everything was hot on your tail. So